Hey YouTube, it's Hannah Loba. If you want more MotoAmerica content, check out the new and vastly improved MotoAmerica Live Plus app. It's the only place you can catch all the race action in one place all season long. Click the link in the description below.
Yeah, there she is, number 19.
And, you know, you got to think about Matthew Schultz here. He didn't get a good start yesterday, and think about how much he made up. He was also quick this morning. Corey Alexander was quick this morning, as was Blake Davis. So a lot of our front runners in the dry were very quick again in the rain as well this morning.
There we go. Supersport race number 2 in the rain, and revs are up. And off the line we go. And that's Ducati got off the line well with PJ Jacobsen, even without any rider aids. But it looks like it's going to be a Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki of Ty Scott, number 70, who gets up. He gets into turn 1 first, but now we're going to wait and see how they go at the top of the hill.
Somebody stalled on the inside there. Didn't see it.
Corey Alexander, sorry, Jay.
Yep.
Corey Alexander into second spot as his teammate PJ Jacobsen goes to the top of the pile. So PJ Jacobsen on the Rahal Ducati Moto with Expel in first.
Yeah, this is why Corey wanted to get to second. Look what's happening. PJ Jacobsen got a little wide there on the exit, coming down out of those S's, but he gets it back on track. Greg, he's already got a couple second lead. Keep in mind, this guy here, World Superbike, World Supersport, British Superbike, and so on. He has won at so many different levels, and to have him back here, the only thing really missing from PJ's resume here in America is that MotoAmerica championship. He's been so close on so many different bikes, and right now he's got this Ducati out front, and that little look over his shoulder's got to give him so much confidence as well, seeing how much he's pulled away just right off the bat.
Corey Alexander on the Rahal Ducati Moto with roller die informing. So the first place bike and second place bike are teammates, and now it looks like it's going to be the 22 of Blake Davis battling it out with the 70 of Ty Scott for third place. So here comes that Yamaha of Davis through turn A, 10A and 10B goes the 15.
Yeah, and this first lap, I think the conditions are a little bit better now than they were this morning when they went out this morning for their warm-up session. It was actually coming down pretty heavily. Right now the rain is more or less subsided. It's not raining, if it is at all, it's just sprinkling right now. So the conditions might be a little bit better and improving as the race goes on. Jake Lewis does a nice job slotting himself into 5th. We have somebody down, CJ LaRoche. Looks like he's down in the last corner, Greg, or that could be turn 10 at the end of the back straight, but it looks like it's, yeah, he's got that bike up. But Corey Alexander and Blake Davis right now, lap and a half into this race, trying to keep PJ a little bit honest.
Corey Alexander sitting at about 6'3", a little bit over that. Nice long legs. He's able to get off the motorcycle. As the left part of your screen is going to be our first faller.
Turn 11 there. CJ LaRoche just tucked the front out of turn 11, right where guys start to pick the throttle up. People start to pick the throttle up there. The bike's leaned over now. She did a 45-1 as well.
And Yakov up to 6th around Maxi Girardo, who was one of our superstars from yesterday, but also huge props to Jake Lewis, the number 85, who's back in 5th place on his Altus Motorsports GSXR 750, as now it looked like Davis was going to go for it, but Corey Alexander just lets off the lever and rolls through the corner, then goes, hey, who is that? Yeah. Off the top of the show, crashed out yesterday. This has got to be a bit of a misery for Ty Scott. When you crash out, Jason, one of the things you want to do is get back on a dry racetrack and show that you have the speed, but a pass for second place. There goes Blake Davis, the number 22 on that N2 Racing bobblehead moto Yamaha R6, and he'll work his way into second spot.
Yeah, and he's really, really good on the brakes as well. So he's shown some really good prowess at the end of that back straightaway. And he was able to draft past Corey, and we'll see what kind of lap times these guys are turning on this lap. But Blake definitely looks like he's got some pace. I'm also super impressed with Jake Lewis, who we saw just now tailing right behind Ty Scott there. So Jake Lewis on that Altus Motorsports GSXR 750. Mesa's down. Bummer. That looks also like turn 11, doesn't it?
It certainly does for Stefano Mesa fans on the Tytlers Cycles Kawasaki. Unfortunately for him, a bit of a miscue, and he looks like he's going to be out of this race. Up front, though, continues to be PJ Jacobsen on that Rahal Ducati Moto with Expel machine. And now they're starting to pull away from Corey Alexander. Blake Davis nestled there in second spot.
The scariest part about this is when we start to see these lap times continue to drop. You have to creep up onto the edge as far as your maximum performance. You're creeping up on that edge.
Oh,
Somebody
it looks
else,
like Kayla Yakov is down.
Kayla has gone down on the exit of turn 5. Yeah. She was
after setting the fastest lap of the race. The 16-year-old hit the deck. She's trying to pick that motorcycle up, but that's a weird place. Probably a spin out of the rear generally that late in the corner.
Under acceleration, it's just going to spin up. But I was getting back to that. We just saw her do the fastest lap of the race. So you have to creep up on that edge ever so slightly because it is so easy to make a mistake in these conditions. You look at the top of your screen, Greg, and I would agree with you. This is probably just getting out with a little bit too much lean angle. That bike probably spun around on her. But up at the front, Blake Davis right now has ran down the leader and is right behind PJ now. And to your point earlier, they're just starting to break away from the 23 of Corey Alexander, who is going to have his hands full this next lap or two with Ty Scott.
There's a look at the 23, and there he is, Ty Scott. Really pacing himself right now, biding his time and not making any big chunk mistakes. But the impressive P.J. Jacobsen out front setting the pace. And that's what it might be for Blake Davis. If Blake is saying, look, I'm comfortable at this pace, I don't think I can push any further, I'll let P.J. lead. He doesn't have to just ride on his rear wheel. There's also spray coming off that back wheel.
And drop back quite a ways from Corey Alexander. And now Jake Lewis is trying to get his big frame tucked in behind that screen there, and he's looking to go by Ty Scott.
Oh! Wow. Blake Davis goes down. What a job by P.J. Jacobsen to grab that brake lever and not crash and avoid Blake Davis. So poor Blake Davis, what a run he had. Too much front brake in these very slippery conditions, but tip of the cap to P.J. Jacobsen for avoiding hitting Blake Davis.
I was saying how hard he is braking. You could see it by the fork travel he was using coming down into turn 10, and here it is, Greg. And you got to remember, he still gets a little sniff of that draft, but he's trying to go down the inside and literally just loses the front. Look at PJ. What a tremendous job, like you say, by P.J. Jacobsen to avoid that. That's a guy with a lot of experience, like I said, and PJ was very lucky there that bike didn't take him down. Looking at the times, 42.4 for PJ, 42.2. How about a 40.9? Matthew Scults has all of a sudden found 40.9. He's found a rhythm, and he's, almost 2 seconds, quicker. He's about a second quicker than Linares, who is in fifth just up the road in front of him.
There he is.
Wow, Linares, he's on the back of Ty Scott now, and it looks like they're trying to go past Joel Ullman there as they get through turn 5. Joel gets his leg out to let these guys know, go ahead and go through. But all of a sudden, you got this three-way battle for 4th place now.
So Scults on the bright motorcycle right there, the number 11. That's the Strack Racing Yamaha R6. Passes for position on the 132, Linares.
It's going to be really interesting to talk to Matthew after this race and what he found this late in, because at the beginning of the race I was watching him just kind of lumbering back there in 10th, 11th, 8th, and then next thing you know, he's put this crazy charge on as now Jake Lewis has got himself to the back of the 23 of Corey Alexander.
And again, Jay, if you look at the stature of these two riders, I've said it for many years. I just think that when you're a larger rider, psychologically you feel like you have an advantage in the rain. A guy like P.J. Jacobsen, you can chalk this lead and what he's doing right now to talent and a lot of experience in Europe, without question.
Years of experience.
But you have to say that something special happens with Matthew Scults. He has incredible feel, and of course, he's been with his crew chief for so long. The same crew chief that he had at Westby Racing moved over to Strack Racing with him, and so his crew chief, Ed Sullivan, knew exactly what kind of setup to put in the motorcycle, because you definitely do things with the suspension to soften the bike up in these conditions.
Yeah, and you can see here our leaders now. All right, this is the worst place that PJ could have caught anybody. Absolute worst place. Coming down this hill, Corey's going to have to try to make quick work of the 131, which is Chuck Ivey also. So Corey's going to have to try to get by here as well to try to go with Corey. And look what it's done. It's allowed Jake Lewis to get up the back. Corey gets held up really badly in turn 5. And so now that gap that looked like it was going to shrink has just opened up completely again. And Jake Lewis now is on the back. And keep in mind, Chuck's got 2 guys right in front of him that he's racing as well. So he's trying to do his best to pick up a couple guys himself. But these guys just caught the tail enders here in just the wrong spot, that's all.
Here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, there are probably 2 or 3 spots on this racetrack that are one line that are really difficult to catch lap traffic in. Obviously, this back straightaway is not one of them, but look at how big the gap is. But this is a rain race, and it's never over until you cross the line where the checkered flag is flying. But for P.J. Jacobsen, he knows that his Rahal Ducati Moto with Expel Panigale V2 has taken him home. The final quarter for PJ on the final lap of the final Supersport race here at Road Atlanta. And PJ Jacobsen takes it home and takes the win. And coming across the stripe, his teammate Corey Alexander on the Ray Hall Ducati Moto with roller die informing in second spot. Jake Lewis on the Altus Motorsport machine in third. And Strack Racing's Matthew Skultz in his Supersport debut here in 2024, able to take it home in fourth place. And Alfonso Linares on the Ducati, Jason.
Top five.
Top five for the 132.
Well yeah,
and
really
we're going to be keeping an eye on that rider throughout the course of the season, because for the 132, able to defeat riders like Ty Scott, Maxi Girardo, David Anthony, as we still await a lot of riders to come across. And there's the race pace, Jay.
Yeah, you can see the track just continued to get better, right? So 41.2, 40.8, then back into the 40s on lap 11 and 12. And last lap, 39.8 for PJ Jacobsen on the last lap. So track is definitely starting to improve and get faster.
So 2 of 18 races for the season in the books. And without question, you've got to look at the 15 and say, now we're looking at one of our championship favorites. So PJ Jacobsen gets to stand on the podium with his teammate Corey Alexander and Jake Lewis. Can't wait to hear from PJ how this wet weather race went for him. What a job.